Hello everyone, it's Amy, and welcome back to the new Build Your Stash and Craft. I will put the week in the title because I didn't look that up before I started, and I'm not sure where we are. It's been a while. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I'm here, and hopefully we are back to a regular Tuesday schedule. I know that today's is late, but hopefully from this point forward, they will come up every Tuesday morning. So, and then I'm still planning on trying to start getting a few other videos like room tours and back to the journaling series. We're going to take it one step at a time. So today we are going to make these puff flowers. I'm going to show you the construction of making them. They're super simple. And then I'm going to show you some different ways that you can use to decorate them. Because what I have here to show you as a sample, these are some scrapbooking paper, which we don't have any scrapbooking paper in our stash. And but I was making these for samples and then remembered that I really should have used our own paper. So we will use our own paper today. But I'm going to show you different ways that you can get these types of looks even if you don't have scrapbooking paper. So you know how to get them decorated up pretty. So we're just going to, I'm going to set these aside, and you can use these on cards. You can use them here. I put this one on a skewer. You could put it into a plant or a planter. You can make them any size you want. So these are very large. These are smaller, and you can make them into different shapes. I think that they would look cute as a little like row of lights, and we're going to try that too here. I haven't tried it yet, but in this one here, I didn't unfold it all the way because I thought it looked kind of cute with the petals folded out towards the front, and or you just make them flat. But we're gonna do this right now. So the first thing that you're going to do, let's see here. I don't want it quite that large. We're going to go with, okay, I'm going to fold our paper in half. We need 2 squares that are the same size. That's what I'm working at here. All right, so if we fold our paper in half the long way, and then fold up one corner to that center fold. And what that's going to do is we're going to cut this out, and it's going to make a square. So we're just going to do this, and then just cut right across here. They don't have to be exactly perfect anyways because we are going to be cutting them out, but it is easier to start with very close to the same size. So we're going to fold that one up to that middle line. Oops, and I did not get that folded here. Let's get this one cut off completely because it's in my way. And again, like I said, they don't have to be perfectly exactly the same, but okay, so I need to line this corner up down here, which I did not do. Let's try and fix that because I definitely want a square. There we go. All right, so now we have 2 squares, and that's what you need to do this. You need 2 squares. And then you may want to decorate it. You may not want to decorate it. You can stamp on it. You can color on it. You can do whatever. You know, there's so many ways to decorate it. So now we have 2 squares of paper. Just like that. So we have 2 squares. What we're going to do is we're going to fold it back into a triangle, and then we're going to fold it. This is our fold line here, so we're going to fold that over point to point along that fold line, like that. It's just like making a, and then we're going to fold it one more time, just like that. And it's just like making, I can't think of what I'm trying to, a snowflake, like at Christmas time when you cut snowflakes. Okay, so now, and we're going to do the same thing with this one. So we'll have 2 that are just the same again along the fold line. We'll just fold that corner to corner, just like that. And then we have this triangle. So we folded it along that fold line over, and then we're just going to, we've got the little point here. We're going to fold that corner to corner like that. And so what this does is it makes 8 sections in our flower. So now what we're going to do is we are going to cut our petals. Now you can cut them pointed, you can cut them rounded. The only thing that you want to try and do is, this is your petal, so here is your point. You want to try and come up and start on each side at the same point, because you have a lot of extra up here and not as much over here. But we want this part, that's our extra. So we want this part here. We want to start, let's say we're going to start, I like to start close to the lowest edge. We're holding this straight up and down, just like this. So like I said, we've got a low point and a high point. So we're going to hold that straight up and down, and I'm going to say, I want to start right about, let's say, here. So then what we want to do is we want to end straight across from that. So we want to end right about here. If we come and end way up here, our petals will be funny shaped, but that's okay. You could do that too. You could try for a funny shaped petal and see what it looks like. So I'm going to start here and end there. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to just cut a round petal like that. And then we'll look at this and see what we think. Do we like the shape? Yeah, that's a nice shape. So we're going to just fold it back up again. And now what we're going to do, since we've already decided our size, we want them to be the same. So we're going to put this one on top of this one. We want to make sure that our openings are on the same side and our folds are on the same side. We're just going to line that up, and you can draw a line around here, or you can just hold them together. And I think maybe that was a little shallow, so maybe I'm going to come down just a little bit on each side. We'll see if I can cut through all of the layers. But what you're going to do is you're just going to cut around here, or draw a line and then cut on the line. I want to make it just a little bit deeper within the petals here. I want this to come down just a little bit more. So I'm going to cut this. We'll do it separately. I'm going to cut this down just a little bit more. So I'm going to start here, and I still want to go way up there to the top. And then I want to come down here so that these two are pretty much straight across. This one looks a little bit high, so I'm just going to, and they do not need to be perfect. There we go. And that did make it a little bit deeper in the sections. So now we're going to hold it up, put these folds together, line those points up really well, because we want these to be the same size. And then just cut, or draw and cut right around that petal, holding it really tightly so it doesn't move. So there we go. So now we have two that are going to be just the same. Now I wanted to show you something quickly, and I'm going to do it so that I don't forget. But these are fun to play with also. If you make cards or even a piece of artwork or collage or whatever, these are fun, beautiful little like flower frames. So you can use this as a frame. You can use it in scrapbooking. Put your children's picture in there, or a picture that you're scrapbooking, and then you put it on another page. And isn't that cute? So don't forget, that was a cutoff, but it is not a waste. It is something that you could use that would be really cute to have a few of them with some pictures behind it, or just drawings inside. So keep those, don't forget that. And so then what you're going to do is you're going to, and I'm going to put a line, but you don't want to put a line, but I'm just going to show you from this point to this point, you are going to fold this flower petal down, the whole thing. So we're just going to fold that down, and we want to keep it pretty straight right across there. Just like that. That's going to make it so we can put the two sides together. So I fold it that way, and then I turn it around and fold it back the other way. Just like that. So, and then, you know, you don't really want that line there, so I'm going to just erase that. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. From where we started to cut to where we ended our cut, we're going to go right straight across. And we are going to just make that fold And do it here and make that fold so that we'll be able to put them together. Now, in order to make them puffy, we're going to give them a little cut. So what we're going to do is right now, before we open them up, we're going to hold the two together. Well, they don't really have to be held together, but we're going to make a mark on the folded side. We're going to do that so that we know where these petals are the same, because they may line up perfectly no matter which way you rotate them, but they also might be off just a little bit. So we're going to do like that. See, here's our little mark and here is our little mark. And so those would go just like that. And they would line up pretty well that way. And see, look here, they're not even lined up totally perfect even at that, because the paper's all folded. So if you can see, there's a little there. So, you know, it doesn't have to be totally perfect. I just like to cut exactly the same spot. And to make them puffy, that's how we do it. We're going to cut that little mark that we just made. Cut on that line right to the center. On both of them. Okay. And then we're going to fold all of our petals so that our folds are folded up. Every other one will already be up, or kind of should be. And so we're just going to take the ones that were folded down, and we're going to fold them up. So just keep folding them all up. And it's not every other one. I'm not exactly, it's half of them should be going each way. But there we go. Now they're all going to be folded up. We're going to fold these towards the top of our flower. And then we're going to overlap this and glue it together, and that's what gives us the puff. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to use stick glue. You can use stick glue. You can use tacky glue, whatever it is that you have. And you're just going to put, you're going to put your glue on the whole thing. I was thinking just the triangle, but that's not true. All the way out to even the rounded part. And just on the one triangle and rounded part. Don't go any further that way. And then you're just going to just line your cut edge up with that fold and line your round parts up and just give it a good press. And then we're just going to fold these back up again. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Make sure, it's easier to make sure that they're all folded with an upward fold before you put them together, before you glue the petals together. So once you glue the petals together, sometimes it's kind of hard to get that nice, neat fold there. So we're just going to put our glue on there. Line up our cut line with that first fold right there. Line up our rounded parts. There we go. And so now we have our other puff. And so then all you have to do is glue them together. I find it easier to put the glue on all of the puffs, on all of the rounded parts all at once, and then line them up and put them together. You can do it however you want. And I kind of try and make it so that the part that I glued together, which sometimes is hard to find, it's right there and right there. I like to put those together. And then just line up the rounded pieces on each petal. If they don't, and they're not going to necessarily match perfectly because of all of those folds, your cut lines are going to be a little bit different, so don't worry about it. If they're not lining up, I'm just going to kind of fold those back and forth to kind of make them helps them to be just straight out. And then, if you want to put them on a skewer, I just find a place between two of the petals. Right here, there's a spot where it's not glued down totally, and I put my skewer right up through there. And then I stick the point of the skewer kind of right up into that petal above, because that's where it's going to go straight. So, I'll show you this one. So this one, it has a hole there, so I'm just going to go right up there, and the straight petal above that, whoops, has come unglued, see? So if your stick glue doesn't work well, or if you don't get them closed up in time, go ahead and use your tacky glue. That will hold better than stick glue. So we just stick that straight up, and then you can see that here's the petal that's straight above it. So see right there is the point of that skewer. And so that just holds it nice and straight. And so then you're going to want to decorate it. So you can cut, and these are easier to cut to get yourself a pattern for these before you glue it all together. But if you want to cut some triangles to put on there, all you really have to do is just hold, let's do it on here, just fold this over, and then you're going to know that your triangle is going to be from here to here. Okay, and then you're going to want your point right up there. And so what I do is I measure it from the center up to the point. Okay, if I go to 1 3/4, it will be just, or 1 1/4, it'll be just a little bit short, which we want it a little bit smaller so that we have a gap around. So I'm going to fold these two pieces together. I folded my two lines together. I made them touch. Okay, so I know where the center is. And then I want to come up 1 1/4. Right to there. So now I will draw my lines like that. Like that. And then I will just try it. If it's not quite right, I will just keep adjusting it till it is right, or cut a new one. So it may not be perfect every time. And if you, it may be easier to kind of draw around it before you unfold it. But we're just going to take this one. Here's a spot this popped up really well. And so I've got a nice gap at the top, but my bottoms are too wide because that's as wide as that. So I'm just going to come in a little bit from the bottom, but I'm going to go straight to the top. I'm not going to cut the top in anymore. And I show you these things because I'm going to do it on the other side too. Just take a little sliver off the bottom and go straight to the actual point. There. That should make the two sides shorter. And I put these on here and show you because if you make the same mistake and think, oh no, I messed it up, there's no messing it up. You just fix it. So there we go. That looks pretty good, but this one I think could come in just a little bit more. And once I get it exactly the way that I want it, when I get it to where it's going to fit, because these should all basically be the same. They may be off just a touch because of the folds, but there we go. Now putting that on there, I have a gap at the bottom in each side and the top, so that looks really nice. So then what I would do is I would just come in. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and I would just take this and I would trace it 6 more times, once here and once here, and just trace it and cut them out and glue them on. I don't really want to glue them on there because I really like the looks of this yellow just like it is, but if I wanted to, that's how I would do it. So if you get some that are kind of folded in, you could take one of your skewers and just find a spot that's not completely glued together and just go in and kind of pop them back up again a little bit. You can even pop them up and give them a fold. But there we go. So I think that that's just really cute. And like I said, you can just leave it on a skewer like that. And on this one, I painted my skewer green. So just because I wanted to. But you can just put them on like that, put them in a bouquet in a vase, put them into a plant. I think they'd look cute in a house plant, and just stick them in there. And they're just so nice, and they're, you know, they have some real dimension to them. But also I thought it might be cute to take a bunch of them, which is why I was doing all of these, because I thought, what if we just took a bunch of them, picked up a little thing of lights from the Dollar Tree, just found our hole. What did I do with my skewer? Okay, here's a spot where there's a gap. I'm going to just open that wide enough to put the light inside. And there we go. So I thought that these would be really cute to just take these and hang them on the lights. And you can use, the two bigger ones are made out of cardstock, because the cardstock is a lot more solid. But I'm gonna, if I hang these up like along my curtains, I thought that they would make a really cute curtain swag, or along my curtain swag, just let them hang there. Then paper's okay with me, you know, because they're not going to be messed with or touched. So, and if you're going to put them, you know, into a plant in the house, then you really might want to. And I would probably dab just a little bit of stick glue or regular glue right there on that one. But so in just putting those on there, I think it would be really cute. Let's try just one more. Just make a hole big enough to put the little light in. And you want to light that, because this is paper, you want to make sure you don't use lights that get hot. So there we go. Isn't that kind of cute? And then let's see if you can see a little bit how it is glowing. So, and another reason you wouldn't want to use cardstock with these is because the light won't show up at all. But I think in the dark, I think that they would glow very pretty, because we can already see them even with the light. Now here, this is the folded piece right here, and that's where I put the light. Might want to try and put the light over here somewhere with the folded piece towards the bottom, because the folded piece will be thicker, so it won't glow as much as the rest. So I think that I might put that at the bottom, or make it so that the light is behind the folded piece, so you don't really see the light, you just see the glow. That's another way. So, and then I thought what might be cute is, okay, so let me see here. I was going to talk to you about decorating them, and just a couple of ways that it's really easy to decorate if you have just plain paper and you want to do something with it. And so if you've been here for a while, you already know this trick. And I don't know why I didn't pull out ink. I pulled out paint. So we are just going to, I'm going to turn those lights off. But I'm going to show you how to, on a plain piece of paper, give yourself some pattern like this, so that it's not just a plain piece of paper like this, because it does make a difference. That little bit of pattern, that little bit of texture does make it look, it gives it depth instead of just a flat piece of paper. So I'm going to just take a piece of garbage paper. And also remember, if you're just starting out, things like this that come in the mail, those would make really pretty like flowers. Cut them out and use them. Here's some more on the back. So so always remember, that's why this is sitting here, is because I'm going to cut those out and I'm going to keep them. But I'm going to use this, a little piece of this as garbage. And I am just going to crinkle it up, just like this, so that it's got all different like kind of layers to it. It's just a wad of paper. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in my paint. And it works even better with ink. So I'm going to take some of that off because I put way too much on it. So you'll pat it off. even if you don't put way too much on it, pat it a little bit. And then you're just going to, and you're going to turn your paper or turn your little stamp. We're going to call this a little background stamp. And you're just going to do that until you fill up your paper, or until you fill up however much of your paper that you want to. And tip that off very well, and I got a really dark spot there, but that's okay, because it's background and you don't want it to all be exactly the same. But you do want, for the background, you want a lightness to it so that you can do whatever you want on top of it without being too bold. And so you'll just do that. And now you could use this paper on top of your flower in the triangles, or you could use this as your flower. And you maybe stamp on it, which was another thing I wanted to do. And in our stamp series, we made some flowers, and we made flower stamps to go with it. These are all stamps that we made with fun foam or with rubber erasers. But I know that when we made those flowers, we made little flower petal designs to put on those flowers. So you can use those. So I'm going to, because I didn't get out an ink pad, I'm going to just spread it around like that. All right. Try this on here. Hopefully I didn't get the paint too thick, but let's try stamping it off a little bit. Yep, that works all right. And so then you could just use something like that. Design your own stamp, and you can design it. Now this would be better, much better, to do this while your paper is still flat, and stamp all of your petals before you glue it together. Whoops. And make it into a flower, because this is hard to do, to get it to touch everywhere. You want your paper flat on a surface so that you can do this. But if you forget, you can just go ahead and do this, and then you go from there. You could doodle inside of each of these and around them, because they're not stamping the whole way. So, you can just make yourself some kind of a pattern. You could use this even to go in and kind of fill them in. So remember, there's no right or wrong, and if you make a mistake, there is a way to fix it. Just think about it. Even if that way of fixing it is to cut out some triangles and cover it up. And actually, maybe I could have like undone this if I really, if I didn't have a lot of paper and I wanted to make sure that I did not mess it up like this because it's not flat. I could maybe carefully take it apart, do my stamping, and then glue it back together again. So just always give it a thought. When something happens and you feel that it's, you've really messed it up, give it a thought and think about, what you can do to fix it. Because there's got to be something that you can do, like I said, even if it's covering it up, so that you don't waste your base. But there, it's not the most beautiful, but it still is kind of cool. Add a few more layers, do a little doodling on there, and it will look even better. So, and then one other thing that I have not tried yet. Hold on, I'm going to spray a little bit of paper, paper towel. I'm going to wipe that off just a bit because that is one of my favorite stamps, and I don't want that acrylic paint to dry in there and change my stamp. There we go. That's better. There. Okay. So don't forget to clean them, especially if you're using acrylic paint. Make sure that you clean them before they get dry. So that's ways to do that. Now, there was one other thing that I wanted to try. We'll do it with this one. Oops. And get rid of our alphabet stamps. And all of those stamps are, excuse me, we made those all on this series, so you can go back and look at Build Your Stash and Craft, the new Build Your Stash and Craft. Well, the old one has them too. And it shows you how to make those stamps. I have a playlist for the series. So we're just going to, I want to try doing a lace flower. Is that the same? There. Okay. I want to try making one into like a lace flower. I'm going to do a solid. Okay, kind of off here, so I'm just going to cut this off. I want to do a solid back and a lacy front that the lights will really show through. And like I said, I haven't tried this yet, so I don't know how well it will work. This is one you might want to try with cardstock, although cardstock will be hard to cut when you fold it into this many layers. So we'll just see if this works or not. But I think it might be really pretty. And again, it would look really pretty on some lights that are not hot lights. And then hanging up anywhere in your art room, craft room, kids room, nursing home, if you have someone there that you love, that you want to bring them some color. Now see, this one is way down here, and this one is way up here. They should be straight across from each other. So let's see what that looks like that. And even that doesn't look really bad. It looks kind of like a clover instead of a flower. But, so that is why we go straight across, but it actually did not look bad. So we could have left it that way. Okay, so I'm going to do that one like that. This is a Kool-Aid dyed paper. I can tell by the texture that we made earlier this year. Okay, so now I'm going to take this one. Just hold them together. Don't forget to save these flower frames. This is a great way to make a frame. So I'm going to save both of those. All right, now I think I will, let's find the folded side. I do at least like to try and put those two pieces. That's where I like to make my cut. All right, now I'm going to look at these. Okay, since this one has all the color on it, I'm going to put this one on the back because I'm going to leave this one solid. Again, I'm going to go in and fold all of those creases up. There we go. All right, now let's see here. I'm trying to fold it back together because I did not fold I forgot to fold the petals. So there we go. Fold that back together and fold the tops of those petals. There we go. And then if you want to stamp on it, this would be the point where you would stamp on it before we glue that together and give it the shape. Now this one, I'm going to fold it back up and I'm going to cut it like a snowflake. Totally like a snowflake, not just the start of a snowflake, but I want to make it lacy. And so you do that by cutting on the folded sides and making sure that you leave some of that fold on there so that it doesn't fall apart. And we're just doing this quick, but the more times you make cuts like this, the more you may find that there are some that you like, and you can cut them like, you know, you'll cut more snowflakes that way. Some of them you'll say, oh, I don't like that. I like to make my My cut's kind of thin, especially on a small piece like this. You don't want to make them too big because then they make a very large hole. And I think we'll just call that good now. I need to, which it might have been easier to do this before I started cutting, but I need to fold that top part. Fold that down. Yes, it would have definitely been easier for me to fold that beforehand. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to open this up. And again, you might almost need to use cardstock for this. That's very pretty. But cardstock will hold the shape better, especially once it gets so lacy like this. You can use your X-Acto knife and a cutting board and do it flat on your cutting board and take out just little bits. Being very careful whenever you use an X-Acto knife. All those folds need to go up. Okay, and then I need to cut. I can't find it, so I guess it really doesn't matter. I think I'm going to make it overlap where there's not hardly any color. Okay, now we've got the overlap here makes a difference, so I might think about how I might do that differently. My glue stick is super sticky, so I need to be careful. I might use an X-Acto knife to cut out some of these extra bits so that they match up also. But I don't have an X-Acto knife here today, so I'm not going to, but that is something that you can do. Or you could put the light in that spot so that they would kind of hide the bulb a little bit because they're kind of overlapping. Okay, and then we'll do this one. Quickly get them together, and then you'll be able to see what they look like with the light behind them. Just try and line those up as well as you can. And you probably always want to try and line them up from the front, what you think is going to be your front, so that that looks the best. Then if there's like overlaps and stuff and you have to cut them off, you'll cut them off from the back. And so there we go. There's that one. Actually, I guess I should have had a little bit more color on the front. Nice thing about these is there's no storage. When you're done with them, you can throw them away. So you don't need a lot of storage space for this background stamp. And every time that you do it, they're different. So every time you scrunch it, or even if you just take it and re-scrunch it, if you're doing a big piece of paper, you will definitely see the difference. There. I thought it wouldn't make a difference once it was cut out, but it did. So I put a little bit of color on there. I'm going to go right in here. So we'll put that light in there, like that, and turn those back on again. So there we go. That is really cool also. I like that. I like that a lot. That was a thought I had just as I was coming in here and thought that that might be really neat. And I think it is. One other thought that I had was you could actually cut the point off and make like a total hole here so that you could use it like a little shadow box. We have enough time to just do a really quick one more. And I don't know how this will work either, but I'm going to cut 2 squares. I'm not doing them great. I'm just doing them quickly. But we'll just really quick make 2 halves. And you really can make them fairly quickly. Excuse me. I don't want to be straight across, so I'm going to go like here. And I'm going to make that a little deeper because that was too flat for me. All right, that looks pretty good. Do this one. Put the folded sides together. And really, you don't have to do this part. I don't know that it really makes a difference. They still don't wind up perfect to line up. You still have to trim them just a little bit. Okay, so we'll take this one. Remember to fold all of these out. This is the one thing I think I forgot the most, was to fold them all up. And so then when I put them together, I had some that wanted to go down and some that wanted to go up. You could also take them like this, just make them just like this, and glue them onto a canvas once you folded them up like that. So then your canvas would have that half dimension of the flower, which is also a really kind of fun thing to play with. All right, so for this one, what I was thinking was we could make it so that there is basically a it's going to be a flower, a 3D flower frame. So now we've got that. If we bend them all up, okay. There we go. And now we've also got this little tiny flower that we can use in our crafting. Don't forget, all of those bits and pieces a lot of times really come in handy. Oops, I almost forgot to overlap this one. Okay, I'm going to put the glue on the whole one because I think that will be easier, and then we can manipulate the thinner one into place. And you might want to put something, because this is going to be your backdrop. So kind of like a diorama, like a picture frame, something like that. Where you might want to do whatever you're going to do there first before you put this top piece on. But I just want to see if it works. And if it does work, how it looks. You do need to kind of make sure you're putting it where it belongs, because it's so flimsy, it just wants to kind of fall wherever. And again, this one might work better with cardstock, which this one would be easier to do with cardstock, because you're only cutting the hole. And to cut that hole, all we did was cut the point off of our fold. And so there we go. Now we have this, and we could have anything inside of there, a picture of our child. Wouldn't that look cute? Like a little sunflower with one of your children's pictures in there or something, and then have it into a plant, or a picture of your favorite fur baby. I'm just trying to think if I have anything here I could even like put in there as a sample. And I really just don't. But it could just have anything in it. And it would be easier to do this, I'm sure, before you glued the two pieces together. Here we go. And you could put it on the back, or you could even glue it to the front piece. You're going to want to, you know, make it sturdy. But isn't that cute? I think that these are really fun. So I hope if you make some that you really enjoy making them, because I do. I think they're fun. And I do like making them this size so that I can hang them up. And to make this one, you do it exactly the same way, except instead of rounding the top when it's folded, you just cut a point instead. So there we go. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you come back. If you're new to my channel, if you click the bell, it will let you know the next time that I put a video up. And I am hoping to have one up every single Tuesday morning, which is what they always used to be. And so I'm getting back to the point where I'm hoping that that will definitely happen. And but thank you very much for all of your support. I appreciate all of your prayers over my surgery and all of your well wishes. And again, thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate you. So thanks again. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.